sliders, carousels, or static banners are some of the most used marketing sections on homepages. Merchandising sections include featured products, top categories, most popular deals, top brands, and so on. SEO doesn't own these areas, but many times there is nonetheless room for organic improvement. While carousels seem to have several usability and conversion issues, as pointed in these studies, they are still present on many e-commerce websites, from Dell and Hewlett-Packard to other small and medium businesses. From an SEO perspective, there are two usual issues with carousels. The entire carousel is built with unfriendly JavaScript, and the text content and the links in the carousels are embedded in images. Let's see how you can identify unfriendly JavaScript carousels. Custom-made carousels may use Ajax or JavaScript to dynamically populate content in the carousel, and that's when you can get into troubles. Carousels can be tested from an SEO point of view by placing them on a public test domain, subdomain, or a page. Once Google crawls and caches the URL, take a look at the cached version of the page. If you see something along the lines of loading or waiting for content, or if the content of the carousel is totally missing, it means that the carousel's implementation is not that SEO friendly. Additionally, you can test the implementation using the fetch and render in Google Search Console. If you have to send authority to specific items and index links within carousels, you have to correct the coding so that their content can be crawled. In this example, neither section is cached by search engines. Additionally, the items linked from section 1 are nofollowed, which suggests that this online retailer doesn't want the links to be crawled and indexed. But the links in section 2 are followed, which may suggest that those items are supposed to be indexed. However, section 2 is implemented with JavaScript, which can create accessibility issues for those URLs. The second SEO concern I mentioned was text and links being embedded in images. To make the text and links accessible to search engines, use CSS positioning and image replacement so you can overlay text on background images. Another option is to create the carousels or banners in plain HTML and CSS. The carousel in this image is built with CSS and HTML. The text on this banner is overlaid with CSS and HTML as well. You can check if the text is plain HTML by selecting the content of the page using Ctrl+A. Plain text whitens out when selected in the browser. If the imagery is more complex and you can't implement image replacement or plain CSS plus HTML carousels, then use image alt text along with area and map tags to create the links. For example, this image embeds 3 call to action links: shop now, sign up for emails, and like us on Facebook. The code deploys the HTML map element with 3 areas to make the links clickable. Each area tag has its own alt text. If you think about it, maps inside images make a lot of sense for e-commerce websites. For example, apparel websites that feature model looks could allow users to click on the hat, the pants, or any other piece of clothing depicted in the hero images to send users directly to product pages. The area tag will effectively make such images shoppable. You can improve image maps a bit with SEO-friendly tooltips and hotspots that expand at click. Notice the plus and dollar signs in these carousels. The 2 hotspots can be used to add more text content. When you hover the mouse over these 2 icons, the plus and dollar signs expand to provide more details. Also, the text in the tooltips is indexable. Since map and area tags are not commonly used by SEOs, here are a couple of tips for you. Every area element should have an alt attribute even if it's empty. The alt text should describe the image in 150 characters maximum. According to Microsoft, the alt text should not start with the word copyright or with the copyright symbol or any other character or symbol that has no search engine relevance. Start the alt text with the most important words. Avoid flash area maps. Use XML or text files for the tooltip content. This will allow copywriters to make changes easily. If a particular AdWords ad you tested worked well in the past, it may also help with the CTR on tooltip links, since ad titles are usually fewer than 25 characters. Products and categories linked from the merchandising areas of the homepage, such as hot deals, best sellers, or top brands, tend to receive more internal link authority than products linked using structural links. This is why you can use these areas to push more SEO love to the products and categories that are the most important for your business. Sometimes the items listed in these areas are implemented with carousels. Make sure that the design of the carousels allows people to quickly identify that they are looking at a carousel, and make sure that they have full control of the play, pause, next, and previous functionalities. Many users will probably miss the black arrows and the dots that control the carousel in this image. If you want the carousel's items to receive PageRank, implement it in an SEO-friendly way as previously discussed. When you absolutely have to use Ajax to load the items, I recommend loading a default set of items in the first slide of the carousel. This first slide is loaded in the raw HTML and is accessible to search engines. Load the next slides with Ajax when the user clicks on the controller buttons. Here are some SEO tips to optimize the items listed in the merchandising areas. It's not mandatory to wrap the merchandising section name in an HTML heading, but it can be done if you want. Since there will likely be more than one merchandising areas, I recommend using level 2 headings or H2 or higher. H1s are usually used on more important labels, and for e-commerce templates, it's generally not a good idea to have multiple H1s on the same page. On product listing pages, the product image thumbnails and the product names need to be optimized to send one consolidated signal. This means that the image alt text and the anchor text of the product should be one and the same or slightly different. Add 1 to 3 links to manufacturers, brands, or relevant product attributes whenever you have the space to do so. In this example, you can see how Amazon links to various category pages from the top holiday deals section. Avoid linking with generic anchor text. The See Details link in this image is not optimal. Instead, the product name should be the link. If you want to keep the See Details link, you can embed it in an image with the product name as alt text. Do you really need a Buy Now or Add to Cart link on the items listed in the merchandising areas of the homepage? Do visitors really add to cart directly from the homepage? If not, consider either removing such strong CTAs or replacing them with softer CTAs such as More Details or Find More. If you are keen on using Add to Cart buttons in these sections, implement them with either the HTML button element or using JavaScript. This Add to Cart link is implemented with JavaScript, which means that the chances of being followed and crawled are minimized. If you want to add even more content inside merchandising areas, use CSS Expand and Collapse features. When you click on the More Details link in this example, it displays more details about the MacBook Pro sale. And the last tip, use alt text and image map areas for links whenever you use images to display promotional banners. Let's talk about logos. The vast majority of the logos are implemented as images. Sometimes, logos embed the company's tagline, slogan, or unique selling proposition. There's a lot of debating about how to implement logos properly, not only from an SEO point of view, but also as HTML markup. In terms of SEO, Some argue that using the alt text on the logo image is enough. Others recommend using the image replacement technique. In terms of HTML markup, some believe logos should be wrapped in H1, while others say it should be an H2 or have no heading at all. No matter how you choose to provide better context for a logo image, that content won't provide a big lift in rankings. Just because you use the primary keyword in the alt text of the logo doesn't mean that search engines will consider your website the authority for that keyword. It may help a tiny bit in obscure niches. If you can easily and safely implement image replacement for your logo, do it. Image replacement is not spam as long as you don't abuse it with keyword stuffing or other crazy stuff. W3C uses image replacement in their logo. A List Apart and Smashing Magazine use it too. Moz used to do the same before their site redesign. However, keep in mind that using alt text on image logos will work just as well as image replacement. Let's look at a few options you can consider for the text describing the logo, whether it's implemented with alt text or image replacement. You can use just the company name. Alternatively, use your company name plus 2 or 3 top categories. You can also use dynamic text that includes the brand name plus a category name. In this case, the text changes from one page to another. For example, on the home page, you will use the text Microsoft logo, but on the tablets page, you will use the alt text Microsoft logo tablets. Another option is to use the company name plus a tagline, unique selling proposition, or slogan. Ideally, these will be short, descriptive, and will contain some keywords. You can also use the company name followed by the company slogan in plain text. HP's slogan clearly states the focus of the website and cleverly includes the keyword pattern, printing solutions. This improves relevance for keywords like large format printing solutions, commercial printing solutions, and industrial printing solutions. I like implementing option 5 wherever possible, followed by number 4, 3, 2, and 1. In each case, the text has to be representative of the logo it describes and not be spammy. You can provide context for search engines using the logo's alt text or using image replacement. Both should be user-friendly and are okay for SEO as long as you don't spam. Note that the alt text on clickable images is the equivalent of the anchor text on text links, so it's worth spending time optimizing your alt texts. There are also implementations that don't allow alternative text on logos. One such implementation is the use of CSS backgrounds or using CSS sprites. In this example, you can see how Walmart uses CSS sprites for their logo and other icons. In the cached version of the page, the alt text for the logo is missing since the logo was implemented as a CSS background. The logo should link using the homepage canonical URL to consolidate relevance signals. This ensures that internal reputation is not split between multiple URLs. For example, don't link to the homepage using both the default URL and the root. Choose a canonical version, which is usually the root, and link consistently. Keep in mind though that this is not an issue for search engines nowadays. However, it's a web development best practice to be consistent with your internal links, just as using lowercase only for your UTM tag values is best practice for tracking and analytics. Wrap the logo using the organization markup. Google supports schema markup for organization logos. This means that you can mark up your HTML code to specify which image should show up as the logo in the Google Knowledge Graph when someone searches for your brand name. Simply wrap the logo using the organization markup, as in this example. Doing this will help you get more SERP estate dedicated to your brand. Wrapping the logo in an H1 heading is highly contentious. Additionally, the SEO influence of H1s is not significant enough. My stance is that the logo should not be marked up with H1 or with any other heading for that matter. A heading is a textual element that should be marked up as text, while a logo is a branding image and should be marked up as an image. Utility links. Site personalization, user account login, help, and cart links can be labeled as what usability experts call utilities or courtesy navigation links. Site personalization. Some of the best-known site personalization links are shipping destination, language, and currency selectors. These are links used to personalize the shopping experience based on, let's say, geolocation. For example, someone vacationing in France might visit a Canadian website to send a gourmet gift basket to their loved ones in Canada. You identify the visitor IP as French and decide to change the ship to country to France, the item currency to Euro, and the language to French. However, you need to give users the ability to change these settings. One of the common SEO mistakes with site personalization links such as ship to, language, and currency is that they create crawlable URLs even if they are temporary 302 redirects. This happens because in many cases, the user selection is kept in the URL, as in this image. These crawlable URLs will create duplicate URLs for each page that has currency selectors, which is not desirable. The solution is straightforward. Don't create crawlable URLs for such selectors. Keep the user choices in cookies rather than in URLs. Additionally, you can use Ajax to load the user choices and to set up the cookies. For example, when the Ship to icon on the top right is clicked, a modal window opens up for users to make their selections. When the Continue button is clicked, the choice updates are made using Ajax, and the user's choices are kept in cookies. Store locator. These links are present in more or less prominent places in the page layout, depending on how important the web-to-store behavior is for each company. Sometimes the link will be in the masthead, sometimes at the bottom of the pages in the footer. Walmart puts a lot of emphasis on store locations because the web-to-store visits are primordial for them. The store locations link being positioned in the footer implies to a certain degree that the web-to-store traffic is not important for Nordstrom. However, the mobile version of the website displays the store location icon in the primary navigation. This mismatch between the mobile and desktop designs makes me think if the desktop design was well planned. The store locator link should not be nofollow or otherwise blocked to search engines. The link should land users on a page that lists all the store locations or that allows easy and quick location searches. Additionally, you should have a dedicated landing page for each store location and create a separate XML sitemap for store location pages. Cart links. These are the shopping cart and checkout links. Most of the time, the shopping cart icon is placed at the top right of the page. Amazon has trained shoppers to expect it in that area. Perpetual mini shopping carts are often implemented with Ajax and are not crawlable. That is fine because you don't need a shopping cart or checkout pages to be crawled or indexed. On a side note, they are called perpetual because they display the number of items in the cart while users navigate other parts of the website. Persistent carts, on the other hand, are the carts that are carried across multiple sessions when users place something in the cart, leave the website, and then come back at a later date, and the items are still in the cart. Some prefer to nofollow these URLs as a way to preserve crawl budget. This won't hurt, but it's not necessary for SEO. Checkout pages can either be blocked in robots.txt or no indexed with the meta robots tag at the page level. Help links are the links to Contact Us, FAQ, Live Chat, Help Center, and similar pages. If your current live chat link is not JavaScripted, block it with robots.txt. Links such as help, FAQ, and contact us should be accessible to robots as plain HTML links. You can consolidate many help links under a single menu to list more links in a limited space. Take a look at this screenshot. The drop-down list under the Need Help label contains important help links for users. You couldn't list all these 6 links in the primary navigation because you are limited by space, but this drop-down consolidation allows you to display a lot of useful links. On many websites, help links also appear in the footer, which means the links will be duplicated. If that's the case for you, implement the drop-down with unfriendly JavaScript so search engines will not find the same links twice. These are links that allow users to perform actions such as creating or logging into their accounts, registering, tracking their order status, and so on. You can see how Best Buy disallows the entire secure www.ssl subdomain. This subdomain hosts the user accounts and it has been blocked. That's a good approach. Usually, account links lead to secure HTTP sections, and there is no need for search engines to crawl or index account pages. You'll notice that a lot of e-commerce websites no-follow the user account links. The red border in these images means that the links are no-follow. Both Target and Office Max no-follow user account pages, but this is not necessary nowadays. Google actually recommends leaving the no-follow off not only for account links, but for all internal links. This, they say, allows PageRank to flow freely throughout your website. Keep in mind that controlling the crawl, no matter how it's done, with no-follow, robots.txt, or uncrawlable JavaScript, is tricky. Let's see why. If you control crawling with robots.txt, PageRank flows into roboted URLs, but it doesn't flow out from those URLs. If you control crawling with no-follow, PageRank doesn't flow into the no-follow URL, but it flows out from the linked to URL. If you control with uncrawlable links, then no PageRank flows in, but it flows out. Ask yourself, will your account pages help searchers if they are indexed by search engines? Do users Google for terms like my account login at your company name? If not, is there any other reason to have these pages indexed? If there is no other reason, consider blocking bot access to such pages. Paradoxically, if you want pages completely out of search engine indices, you have to first allow bots to crawl and then add a no-index meta tag at page level. This means you will not be blocking those pages with robots.txt. If you're concerned about link juice flow, robots.txt might be a better crawl optimization alternative than no-follow. PageRank doesn't flow out of robots.txt blocked pages because Google is not able to crawl those pages to determine how PageRank should flow through each link. However, if pages were indexed before being blocked by robots.txt, Google knows where and how to pass PageRank. Theoretically, leaving those pages open for crawling once in a while should allow Google to crawl them temporarily and flow PageRank. However, if you are not worried about the PageRank flow, there are a few alternatives to roboted and no-follow account links. One option is to consolidate links into groups. In this image, the Your Account section is a drop-down menu that consolidates several links. These account pages are accessible with JavaScript off, which is great. Another option is to deactivate some account links until the user signs in. In this example, the links to your profile, check order status, points balance, your coupons, and your lists are not active HTML links until you sign in. Additionally, the sign in, join for free, and my location links are implemented with JavaScript and are not accessible to search engines. And another option is to use a modal window to log in users. In this example, clicking on the sign in link at the top right of the page opens a JavaScript model. This model window is loaded on demand, and its content is not accessible to search engines at page load.